Hello and welcome to the Dragon's Maze episode of Commander Durdle. So, I've opted to go with Teysa, Envoy of Ghosts. Obviously there were a choice of 10 legendary creatures in this set that I could have chosen. And I just thought I'd go with white-black. I don't think it's something I've built around that often, but of course my memory isn't always great with earlier episodes of this and various iterations, and I've done so many episodes now of now Commander Durdle, but previously Commander Fodder, that I don't know whether I've got a tendency to be more biased towards certain colour combinations or monocoloured or whatever. Anyway, I thought it was an interesting one to do. This was one of the this did crop up in one of the 5 theme decks for the set. So what I've done is I've gone through just Dragon's Maze at this point and pulled out all the white-black cards that I think are relevant to where I want to go with this. I'm going to build an Extort deck, and now I know that it doesn't specifically synergize. This doesn't specifically synergize necessarily with Extort, but Extort was the guild theme for white-black for the block. We don't have many Extort cards in the set, but there's obviously a number of Extort cards in the block, so we'll see if obviously it suggests those. Also, I've included cards in here that, although they don't mention Extort, leverage or do certain Extort type things, where you have this your opponent losing life and you gaining life, and variations in between. One thing I wanted to clarify here with the rules is just how some of this stuff works on here, because there's some interesting stuff going on. So we've got a 5 white black for 4/4. So that's pretty straightforward. It has vigilance and protection from creatures. Also, whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, destroy that creature. Put a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying onto the battlefield. So there's a few things we need to clarify here. So I'm going to bring across the notes that are on Scryfall to do with this, so we can just clarify some things that certainly had gone through my head and I just needed to reacquaint myself with. So some notes here. So protection from creatures means that in the case of how it's done here on Teysa, that Teysa, Envoy of Ghosts, can't be the target of abilities of creatures or abilities of creature cards in other zones, such as Blood Rush abilities. Teysa also can't be blocked by creatures, and all damage that would be dealt by Teysa by creatures is prevented. Now obviously most of this is applicable it's applicable to any card that has protection from creatures, but you can see they specifically mention Blood Rush because that was a theme in the set, so it's important to sort of put this contextually if questions arise surrounding certain other themes which may or may not interact in a strange way with something like protection from creatures. That's all. Now, another thing that I hadn't thought about, and that's why it's important to read the card, is Teysa's last ability doesn't target the creature. So that thing it's doing where, let me just see if I can bring this up. So where whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, destroy that creature. It doesn't say destroy target creature. So it'll actually destroy a creature with hexproof or protection from white, for example. Interesting. Teysa's controller gets the spirit creature token, not the controller of the creature that dealt combat damage, because we're probably familiar with a number of cards in Magic which destroy a creature belonging to an opponent, and then that opponent gets something. It's not the case here. Teysa's controller, which in this case would be you, unless someone's stolen Teysa, gets the spirit creature token. And also you get the spirit creature token even if Teysa's triggered ability doesn't destroy the creature, perhaps because it regenerated or has indestructible. Again, something that's important to remember. Oops. I'm all over the place here today. So back to the seed of the deck. In here, from Dragon's Maze only at the moment, I've got a number of cards. Let's start off down here actually. So we've got just Orzhov Guildgate. It's the only really relevant non-basic that we can use. We've got Plains and Swamps with artwork from the first set of the blocks, so Return to Ravnica. Also got an enchantment in the form of Sinister Possession. So whenever an enchanted creature attacks or blocks, its controller loses 2 life. So what I've tried to do is bring in at least one of the different types where that's possible. And also try and make sure that it does something useful even if it doesn't do anything specifically on theme. So this is interesting because we've got one-sided life loss. So yeah. Interesting, sticking it on Teysa. We've got Orzhov Cluestone. Again, there were these cycle of artifacts in the set. What else do we have here? So, Obsidat's Aid. Just basically a way of getting back something useful from our graveyard if we need to. So, as it was in the set, might as well have it. Leave Decree. It's a Dectane card, so, there's a bit of control going on here. That was a theme in the set. So I thought it'd be interesting to have some sort of card, some sort of control card, sorcery speed, so we can detain up to 2 creatures. And again, that might get pushed out if we find some piece of juicy removal in white or black that is more appropriate in the deck. Debt to the Deathless. I quite like the idea of having an X spell where you're getting this life gain, life loss swap, which is thematic of Extort. Also we've got a fog effect with life gain stapled to it. We've got Profit Loss, which was a fuse card from the set. So creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Creatures your opponent control get -1/-1 until end of turn. Interesting addition. Again, it's in the set. Something might bump it, but where we might end up having spirit tokens getting kicked out, it's always nice to have something to instantly buff them. Obviously, we're doing white-black spirit creature tokens, so my instinct, if we don't get suggested, is to have one of those, was it the Lieges from... I'm trying to think now. Well, whatever block was around the time of Eventide. Got a Crypt Incursion. Exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard. Always handy to have. Graveyard Hate. But also we get life gain for each card exiled this way. We've got Tithe Drinker, which is our Extort card, which is hopefully going to bring up some Extort cards within our seed. We've got Sin Collector. We get to disrupt our opponent's hand. So again, this may get bumped. More of the Obsidat. Sack a creature. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. And Blood Baron of Vizkopa. So it's lifelink, protection from white and black. As long as you have 30 or more life and an opponent has 10 or less life, Blood Baron of Vizkopa gets +6/+6 and has flying. So I thought that was quite interesting within, an extort type deck. Again, a lot of these, aren't particularly strong, but, I might bounce them if we get stronger cards. So we'll just see where we go with the trusty EDH rec algorithm. So I just run this. Okay, so just overall, no surprises. It's good that we're getting extort here. And this is going to be useful if we're spitting out tokens. Yeah, this is nice. So it has gone down a particular rabbit hole I wanted it to. Okay. What I'm going to do is let's just get some artifacts sorted out. So probably just looking at what I'm presented with, do I want to run any equipment that I want to attach to? I certainly would want to protect my commander because of that ability. So we should have Swiftfoot boots. Oh, okay. That's pretty nasty. Right. We'll have the usual things you would want in a deck. So mana fixing in white black's always good. We've got artifacts at our disposal. I could put some of these other however you want to think of them, like the combination of mana rocks and utility from the set in here. This does have lifelink on it. Let me just rerun that now I've made some choices. Yeah, Lightning Greaves, that was it. Would I want to run a Thran Dynamo? We'll see. So, what have we got on? So 3 sorceries, 3 instants. I think a lot of stuff is probably going to get bounced out as I notice more useful things. So let's go to sorceries and instants here, because there's so much interesting stuff in white black. Things like Vindicate and this one, Damn with Overload. Oh, wow, yeah. Read the Bones. we've got Diabolic Tutor and Demonic Tutor. Okay, so we'll have our Vindicate, and again I'm looking for stuff that's stapled up with life gain. That. Okay. So a card draw. Destroy target creature. Creature destroy combat ranger. Overload. You may cast this spell with overload. If you do, change its text by replacing all instances of target with each. So each. Destroy all creature. Oh, destroy each creature. Destroy each creature. Creature destroyed this way. Okay. Why not? And that. So 10 sorceries. There was some stuff here that I felt wasn't really. It's not particularly strong. Obsidat's Aid. Yep. That's good. Okay, that's fine. So, instant wise. Okay. Swords to Plowshares, Fracture. Let's just again go from the bottom and work up. Got a Dark Root. Path to Exile. I like that. Now, let's get rid of that. Okay. So we've done the artifacts, instant sorceries. We'll have a look at planeswalkers. Okay, as long as your turn, lifelink. Okay. +2 Sovereign Vengeful. Bloodlord deals 1 damage to target player or planeswalker. Okay. -X return. So it starts off with 4 loyalty. But I do like the fact that we've got lifelink. It's going to fit nicely in there. see if we get anything else. I don't think we will. With this algorithm, you don't get offered that many planeswalkers. I'm going to have a look at the land. Let's go down the bottom again, just make sure I don't miss any utility lands that can sometimes get shuffled down the bottom. It looks like most of these are just like fixes for white, black. I probably want this, and that wouldn't hurt. There's another card that will give me a bit of graveyard hate. On Tower, Temple of Silence. Yep, that's always good. Play that because of that ability, I think. Just see if anything else bubbles up. Now I've made some choices, and then we'll rebalance the land. Just go down the bottom again. I mean, I suppose I could add in a ton more fixing. This is always very tempting in a black deck. And this is interesting, like this filter land here as well. Oh, fall to the Archangel. Yes, please. I suppose it depends on how. I might review that based on how much black I end up playing, I think. Right, so obviously at the moment rather too much land, so we need to do something about that. What do I want here? I always end up adding more land anyway, so I think I'm going to leave this cranked up around 37, because whenever I do the goldfish bit, look at my hands, my sort of draws, it's normally dreadful mana wise, so I'm gonna crank that up. Right. So again, let's go down the bottom. Oh, that is handy. Exquisite Blood. Sanguine Bond. So oh, it's always nice to steal stuff. Well, not generally, but within the within the course of a magic game. Super irritating. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a target creature card from a graveyard onto the battle under your control. Obviously no good if you're also emptying out graveyards, but it's pretty interesting. So this is playing to the ability. I always like it when the theme in a deck sort of gets stacked in different ways. That's always fun. Okay, we've got 8 enchantments. Do I want to run more than that? It is quite nice to have things that are going to amplify the theme of the deck in various ways. So now we're starting to see more control cards by the look of things. Oh yeah, what's this one? Whenever another creature you own dies, return it to your hand unless the target opponent pays life. Okay. It's fun utility. Court of Ambition. Each opponent loses 3 life. Yes, maybe. Let's leave it at that for the moment. Just want to make sure we've got enough room for our creatures. So I've already got 7 in here. I'm tempted to ditch some of these less strong ones. Now, okay, and again, if it thinks they're good, it'll resuggest them, so it's always see, I want Gary in here. There's obviously those cards like Sutra Priest as well and Soul Warden that are always cool in decks where you're trying to gain life. And Drana's Emissary, of course. Now, this is fun. Now what I'm looking for, so the previous set had this as the white-black legendary. Into the battlefield, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain. Oh, there's the other Teysa. Right. Let's get some extort in here actually before we forget what the theme was. So I'm looking more for things that both gain and drain. Life gained X, obviously that becomes important. See where we are. I think I might have added too much here, but oh no, still got 2. I don't know if I do want to add a liege or not. I think that always depends on the amount of like white-black creatures that are being played as to whether they're worth putting in, because then you get the benefit of both colours. But I think once I've done this, oops. Okay. I thought I'd added Drana. Okay. Beginning of each end step. Create X11 white creature spirit. Creature total flame where X is the number of tokens you can draw. Create this turn. Okay, that's interesting. That amplifies up. So the question is, do I want to go for these life gain amplifiers? Okay, yeah, I nearly forgot about that. Right, 101. So, let me just have a look again. There was one here that I did think about getting rid of. Tricky. Right, I think we're there. So let me just export that. So again with this deck, I think I'm probably going to more focus on whether or not I get problems with my mana or the order in which cards come out. It's obviously hard to goldfish this with the, or can be, with just the nature of the way things work, because it part of the deck seems to be dependent on, you know, creatures dealing combat damage to you, and if you're goldfishing then that's not happening unless you're able to sort of goldfish against yourself. But I just want to get a feel for that. Before I do that, something I always forget to do. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was right to probably worry about the mana base. Well, that's pretty close. So I don't think I need to worry about that. Okay, let's see what we've got. So we have Orzhov Guildgate. Yeah, and just because it was in the set, I mean, again, I could probably replace this with a stronger, you know, dual land. Got plains, a dam, a tithe drinker. So let's just see, purely from the point of view of playing these cards out, how this goes. I suppose it doesn't really matter. Let me just put it out first. That would obviously come out tapped. Okay, we've already got an authority of the consuls we can get out once this becomes out. So actually, yeah, I mean, it doesn't probably make a lot of difference because we haven't got anything else we could necessarily cast. But if I had a different cards in my hand, I might choose to play out the planes first. Actually, that might have been a better thing to do. Would be to play the planes and then play that out. Anyway, so you live and learn. Oops. So we can get our tithe drinker out. Now we have a swamp, so now we're on 3 mana. So we have missed one land drop, but we're now in a position where we can get a Keyrune out. We can also get this card out. So any of our 3 drops, we're in a position to do that. That's handy now because now we've got, what, 4 mana at our disposal. This wouldn't come out till turn 7. Got an Inkshield, okay. So now things are looking okay. We've got a number of options here in terms of what we can play out. Curious. So yeah, either of these I can, oh, not that I want that out now, but yeah, so what have we got for removal that's going to be playable? So that is, and then in terms of permanence, could get that out. So even though we're missing our land drops, we've still got options here. Maybe get a creature out. Oh, there's a Cluestone, so yeah, if you want to just get more mana, we can. So that's good. Let's just see how things develop. So yeah, looks this is a bit of a slow go. Also, we're not in any position now currently from a mana perspective to cast Teysa. That's the only thing. But a lot of things that amplify our extort are coming out, and have we got anything that generates? Yeah, so we've got some things that do start to spit out, you know, stuff that is relative to the ability here. So that's good. Let's just have a look. So 2 planes. This looks like this might be a bit more problematic. Oh, we'll see. Yeah, looks like we're being starved here for black mana. Yeah. So, let's play that. I'm in danger here if I'm not careful of... Yeah. So we're making our land drops, but we're not playing anything out. Now we're in a bad position, so we're okay with anything that's single black and is less than 5 CMC. So I'm just going to play out the mana. So with our mana drops, once we get to this point, and obviously we would have been playing stuff out as we went along, but I just wanted to see at what point. So yeah, we're in a position to play that. So we'll look at another hand. Oh my word. Okay. So now we've got the opposite is true. So now we're good. So we've got, what's Fracture do? Yep. Okay, that's nice that we've got Fracture on turn 2. Wow, ton of mana here. We'll certainly make a turn 3 drop of the other Teysa. Okay, so we can also get out Council of Authorities. Don't have our Sanguine Bond out yet, but as of this turn we could. Oh wow, look. Certainly not, we don't have a mana problem, so we'd be able to get our Teysa out. So let's just again see what we've got here. So certainly our synergies are rolling out, but again, it's probably a little while before anything interesting starts to happen. So we certainly seem to be making our drops, but it does look a little lumpy occasionally, doesn't it? You can see this would not be a great hand. Whereas this, see, our main problem is we've got quite a few white-black cards. So what, I'm not going to make a change to this deck now, but probably what I would be minded to do, I think, is because of that, is to maybe play more dual lands. Now that might well mean that some of the dual lands that I end up choosing are coming to play tapped, but might be a possible way around getting stuck, not being able to cast certain cards. You can see, with certain cards it's a problem if we don't get certain colours of mana within a reasonable time frame. And obviously the other thing is to bear in mind is, you're not going to get Teysa out particularly quickly unless you manage to hit a piece of acceleration. So again, there might be an argument for putting in, black mana acceleration maybe. So there we have it. I hope you've enjoyed that. That was interesting in terms of there were a number of, I'm not super familiar with the extort theme. I think I've maybe built an extort deck once, but with a better commander. So there's obviously better extort commanders where it really goes off. Let me just see. So off screen I'm just looking on so yeah, there's a number of commanders that, although they don't specifically mention the word extort, do that drain gain thing. And we've seen, in here you've got, where is it? I think there is a white-black card that does that whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell. Okay, so it's non-creature spells. It's the only thing. And the Ghost Council does that bouncing thing as well. Just look at something. I'm just seeing on my other screen as I was just looking up white-black life gain things. Let's have a look at that. So we've got 5/5 for 2 white-black. Obviously I can't use this card as my commander in this particular episode because the whole point is picking a legendary from the set, but what have we got? Rather than pay 2 for each previous time you've cast this spell from the command zone, this game paid 2 life that many times. Oh, okay. Whenever I play Arcane, so it's not quite what I thought it was. So it does look there's a number of cards that synergize with this. Yeah, I wish I'd looked up before I did the episode actually. I'm sure there was one deck that I saw one time which was a life drain gain that once extort kicked in it just went off, and I just can't remember. It's got to be something that I just put together off of the back of an article. I don't think it's something I would have come up, and it certainly wouldn't be something that I built in paper. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. That's the Teysa Envoy of Ghosts deck that I built, starting off with a seed from Dragon's Maid. I meant Dragon's Maze. Thanks for watching. Bye for now, and I will catch you in the next episode.